What's up, everybody? Welcome to We Have Cool Friends, the cool show where we interview our cool friends about the cool things they're doing. I'm Greg, and this is my cool friend, Troy Baker.
Well, hello, everybody. Yeah, clap.
I can't get out. You know, it's that thing. The Corona can force me to work from home, Troy, but it won't stop me from clapping for my guests because it's that thing I do, and it makes sense in the studio because Kevin will do it, Barrett will do it. You'll have a little thing, but then it's just me in my empty room doing it, and it's not.
But that's where you get the really cool echo, and it makes your house sound really, really big.
It's true. I mean, look how big it is. Look at that. You can't even see all the way back there.
Yeah,
those flowers. Is that another person? You'll never know.
I do love this art, though. I can't believe I've never been to your house.
Yeah, since we moved, right? Yeah, you never been through. It's because you know how it is, though. You and me, we're on that work a day. You come in for the gig, you do the gig, you get out. And I never come to LA and hang out with you. I come to LA, I do something with you, then I bounce.
This is what's even funny is like I find out that this is what always pissed me off. I'm like, wait, you're here? And like, oh yeah. I was like, what are you doing? I'm just doing this Ghostbusters thing. I'm like, dude, I'm Brian.
No, don't even try it. Cause when I did the Ghostbusters thing, when I went down there and did EA Play, that was the same day that they were doing the Ghostbusters 35th or 30th anniversary, whatever. I guess it would be 35th anniversary, right? And so I ran from EA Play to the Ghostbusters thing to host the Ghostbusters video game at the Ghostbusters the convention or whatever. And I'm getting a tour through the back, and this guy's taking me through. And I get a text from Troy, and I look at my phone. He's like, I don't want to make you jealous, but watch this. Right. And it's a video of you with all the Ecto ones. I'm like, where the fuck are you? I'm a building away.
Like, I'm hosting this. I'm like, shit, man. I was trying to look cool.
Trying to flex.
Do you feel like you got to meet Aykroyd that day, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. No, not that day. I've met him before, though.
Okay. I had a very interesting exchange with him and the people that had me there. I can't remember who was putting on. It wasn't like Fandom, but it was somebody like that.
I think it was Wizard World, right?
Was it Wizard World?
I thought it might have been
like from Collider or somebody that was there. Was like, here, Troy, we're gonna be, and I had David as our assistant, and I had Traveler with me as well because I thought Traveler would get a real kick out. I was like, you need to understand what Daddy's nerdy about, and this is all the things. And so he's fascinated by everything. And I walk up to Aykroyd, and they kind of lead me through the line and everything. He's just kind of sitting there. He's got his glasses on. He's got his hat and everything. And he's just like well covered and just very insulated. And I go, Dan, we've never met before, but and I know that people say this to you all the time, but you and I've actually worked together before. I was this game that we're celebrating the anniversary of. I was your Slimer in that, and you just did a brilliant job. And he looks at me, goes, well, we'll be looking forward to that. And I said, yeah, okay. And,
autopilot.
So autopilot. And I was like, what's so funny is like I thought that I could just smell the cannabis on him, but that's a misnomer. He actually doesn't smoke. He says that he's allergic to someone's going to correct the terpenes or the terrapins or the
turtles. Yeah, the terrapins. Yeah,
it sounds like something that belongs within the Star Wars mythos. It's something that's in cannabis when you smoke it. So it's a great way to kick this whole thing off. Is me getting thoroughly disappointed by meeting Dan Aykroyd with my son.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had a better experience because I met him when in the original, when the Ghostbusters game was originally coming out in 2009, right? I went to New York dressed as the Ghostbuster in my Ghostbuster suit with my pack and everything, and met him that way. And he was fantastic to me. We had a great thing. He did a bit with me for IGN. It was fantastic.
He's effusive. He's incredibly. I mean, he's a little left of center.
Sure, of course, yeah, with his Crystal Head vodka.
But I mean, the man is passionate and he's informed. Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for him.
Even though he blew you off in front of your son.
I just think, I mean, we've been in a situation before too, and he'd been there obviously for a while. It was a pretty warm day in Los Angeles. So I can't hold him accountable to that. So it's like, oh, you're a jerk. Because you and I both have been on that receiving end too, where
I'm a jerk to everybody.
Well, if like we're at a convention or whatever, like Jen just texts you, it's like Porty's just, he shot all over the living room, and I slept in it, and I may have broken my. And if somebody comes up to you, is like, hey man, I just want to thank you so much for everything you do. You're like, okay, that would be great. You're trying to have this converse, so I don't fault him for that. But it definitely was just a moment where I would have loved to have seen my face because it was like, oh, okay.
Right, cool. Thanks,
it
sir.
was like Brick Tamlin in Anchorman responding to it's like, do you even know the way? It's like, fantastic. It was a response that doesn't line up to what you just said.
Does that? Does that on some level horrify you? Because there is somebody somewhere who must have that story with you. I worry about it all the time at conventions. Somebody's going to say something to me and I'm literally in the middle of something and I say the wrong thing and then I walk away and I don't think about it, but they think for the rest of their lives, man, Greg Miller fucking sucks.
The only thing that nothing horrifies me about that. I am positive that there has to be. I even know there was one situation where something really bad had just happened. I can't remember what it was, and I was at a convention. I just landed, and there were sometimes this happens, especially you may have experienced this at SFO, but really at LAX, there'll be they're called the hounds, and these are people that have stuff that they want signed, and
Oh, okay.
somehow people from the airline tip them off that like, hey, so and so's on this plane. And at first, it's like, wait, like TMZ has been waiting for me before, and that was like, that's a slow.
Oh, look at that.
And they got one shot. And you're like, man, not really. No one's gonna sell that picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there'll be people that are waiting there to have autographs signed and stuff, and it's actually kind of a violation of the rules of the convention that we're going to, because obviously the reason why they bring us out there is so that people can go to the show to get these autographs. So
exactly. Yeah. We paid you to come out here. Paid your way to come out here. At least we want you to bring people into the convention to make our money back.
Outside of the wall. So I was like, hey, man, I literally can't do that. And this guy just kind of said something shitty as he's walking away. He's like, well, I knew you were an asshole or something like that. And I had just gotten off the call. Something bad happened. I can't remember what it was, but it was caught in one of those moments of just being a human. And I snapped at him, and it really affected him. And he walked away, and I came up to I left where I was. I was like waiting for a car to pick me up or something, and they weren't there or whatever. And so I actually walked to find this guy for a while, and I said, "Hey, dude, I'm really sorry. You caught me at a moment of weakness, and I don't want you having that impression of me. I apologize. I understand what you're doing out here. So if you'll forgive me, I just wanted to say I'm sorry." Because I didn't want, like you said, for that moment, it's like that guy to walk around thinking for the rest of my life that I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
I can't control what people think about me. What I can do is offer them a lot of evidence to support whatever notion they're going to have about me. So if somebody wants to think that I'm an asshole, I have the opportunity to either deprive them of ammunition or I can load their gun for them. So I choose to go through life trying to make sure that I'm not loading anybody's asshole gun. But
I load ass. I hold on. I fucked up the joke, but I would have gotten there. I load Kevin's asshole gun all the time. See, Kevin, because it works. It's
there. You are. I miss you so much. Blink in and out of existence. You're like, they haven't given you like, where's your goddamn green screen? You come on, what kind of show are we running?
He doesn't need it. Look at how impressed he is. He made that on himself.
Right. No.
No, I'm fine. I don't need it. That was back in the day. That was last week. Oh, this chair's good. This chair's done everything I needed for it.
Before, I don't look, my chair, Adam.
It's my kitchen. It's one of my dining room tables.
Is it?
But no, it encourages me not to work here all day. Because then I just go to the dining room table, I guess, and sit in this chair. But all the same.
You want to get one of the bouncy balls? I'm thinking about getting one of those.
Hell no. God, no, Troy. Fuck no. Jesus.
Oh,
there's a reason you look like you and I look like me, all right? And I'm not going to get a bouncy fucking ball chair. Right? I'm going to lay on that couch and play video games when this is over.
My day is done.
And this is a wrap on my day.
I have worked. I love that. Just to show if anybody wearing actual pants right now, let's just go ahead and get that. Absolutely.
Gave up on that a long time ago.
Dara O'Brien for the Baptist said a wonderful thing. It was like, and here stands before you, man, wearing half a tux. That's half a tux. I was like, good man. Good man.
Kevin, worth pointing out, breaking news from Joey in Slack. You've been muted the whole time. So anytime you've interjected in this episode, no one's heard you. It's just been that thing where we sit here in silence while you talk at us. We hear you.
There's too many goddamn buttons with this setup. You know what I mean? So
and there's your answer, Troy, for why Craig doesn't jump in more.
As Ken Levine would say, that's not a bug, that's a feature. For all those people, they like to get to, create their own version that side of that conversation. So I
always enjoy it when we get told about it after the fact, because it's like I can imagine somebody driving in their car listening to the podcast, and it's like we're like talk, and then stop. And they're like, "Oh, well, that's a great point, Kevin." Kevin's our imaginary friend.
People are like, I haven't touched these dials. It's so long, but I'm gonna start. I don't know what the fade button does in the balance, but maybe that has something to do with it. We're giving people the benefit of actually being able to get to know their cars. And why are you in your car? Where are you going?
Grocery store, burn, just got you, caught you. Don't try to
I'm,
get me.
I'm 5 minutes from my grocery store. We actually measure distance with Traveler in a Gelson. Gelson's is our local supermarket.
Gotcha.
And we are about 5 minutes away, so everything can be delineated in units of it's like a parsec.
Yeah.
So we're one Gelson away. So if he's starting to get like I don't want to be in the car anymore, we're like, all right, dude, we're two Gelsons away. But we actually just got him in the car to drive just to get him in the car because we do so much. We go a lot of places with him.
Yeah.
And him not being able to do that, he loves being around here. And we walk around our neighborhood. But at the end of our street is a Le Pan little boulangerie or little
Sure.
cafe that we would go to every day. And uh, they've got a water fountain and they've got like this really cool patch of grass that we could always play. And like he's learning his numbers and he could point out that there's one of the signs that says Big Deal Music Group. And he can point out every letter. It's like, where's the G? And he's like, G. Where's the D? D. He's not even two yet. And
Damn,
so
dude.
that once Le Pan closed, it was like that was when shit kind of got real for us. We're like, because we don't know anybody that's sick.
Yeah.
Our world really got small when Traveler was born. And so for us to kind of be like, people are like, are you guys going out? I haven't been down on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm like, I haven't been on Hollywood Boulevard in like 2 years.
I miss whiskey a go.
We cook. We're like you and Jen. We cook a lot at home. We don't go out to eat. We don't really order in. And one of the things that we did every day when we started noticing our life is going to change, that we had to adapt to this new normal, was when our Gelsons changed their policies, and it was people are now staying outside, and there's
Sure.
a bracket of 6 feet, and the plastic shields went up at the thing, and then of course, obviously the empty shelves. That's when it really started hitting home for us. But I have to be honest with you, man. The one of the benefits of this has been us really finding creative ways not only to engage with each other, but to engage with Traveler, and like this, really engage with our friends and
Sure.
find creative ways to connect with people. I've been more inspired and more hopeful about. I think I talked to you about this last night. The truly ambitious and the truly creative are thriving in this time right now because they're going this. That someone just gave me a blank canvas, and the beauty is, by and large, you don't need a lot of money to do what you're doing. Everybody is walking around with their portable studio. They can do what we're doing right now on some level and blast it out to millions of people. Um, I want to know that I was telling you about this band, Wolfpack. I have no idea. Never heard of these guys before. Apparently, other people have, but they put out this song called 3 on E. And it's just one of the simplest, funky songs. But I think they recorded it in quarantine. Like the band is kind of quarantined themselves together.
Yeah.
And then the lead singer was separate. I'm maybe making up that narrative, but if not, it was a very resonant thing. It was like, we can still create in this space. There's a song that I'm working on right now that all of my guys that make up Window to the Abbey or who are players and participants in that project, we're all recording it separately. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm going to send you the song, and here's a piano track and a vocal. I'd love to see what you do with this. And so we're finding really cool ways to create and make content and not put our dreams on hold.
So are you creatively then not feeling stifled by this? Like, I mean, what's it doing to your work? Like, because obviously I didn't do it because you're Troy. Everybody knows you're Troy. You're a famed voice actor. You're a content creator. You're a musician. You're all these different things. Have you seen in either, I guess, video games or animation or any of the work you do, like, are you able to do that from home, or have you lost jobs, or have they been postponed or anything like that?
What a great segue, Greg.
That's what they call me, Greg Miller, the best in the biz.
Yes and no. There's some jobs. It all depends on where the project is at in its production cycle. There's some jobs that they're just starting to ramp up. So this is perfect for them.
Yeah.
I did a job yesterday for a studio where they're like, we've never done this before, but can you do this from home? And I was like, let's find out. And so we had a quick tech call and we did some tests. Everything worked great. And we actually had a great session yesterday, a normal 4-hour session. We cranked through like 400 lines of dialogue. I was able to engineer, track the spreadsheet, copy and name the files. I mean, I was a one-man machine. It was like the
Awesome.
guy with it was awesome. Um, uh, that's one project. And
Yeah.
then on the other end of the spectrum, you get the news from Naughty Dog like we had this week.
Yeah.
That's a massive game, and my heart is breaking for that team right now because of nobody can fully understand unless you've been in the trenches what crunch looks like, and that we can have that philosophical debate at another time whether or not people think that should happen or not. But the reality is that for those people right now, it is happening, and it's a very real. The pressure is there,
Sure.
not only to meet the publisher's demands, but also just they understand everybody that is working at that studio knows what game they're making and knows how important it is to the people that are going to play it. And so that's why they've been giving their lives over to that. And then to have this happen at such a critical point to where they literally just can't make the game. And for Sony to say, we're just going to put a pause on this. And when this thing is over, then we can revisit. But right now, we can't say it's going to be delayed until X date. We have no idea when life is going to go back to whatever new normal we're going to have. So for everyone to be just like, go home.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, sweet, I get, I get all this time off.
Yeah.
It's pencils down. You're like, but I was right in the middle of making, they're professional problem solvers, and you just made them walk away with unfinished problems.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine those people at home right now. Yes, they're getting rest, and yes, they're being able to spend time with their loved ones, but that thing is just itching in the back of their head going, I just want to take just one thing. If I could just do that, but not being able to do that has got to be terrible, much
Well,
less.
that's their whole statements, right? Of like the fact that, yeah, they are on track to finish this game. Like this, they are going to hit the date. Everything's going fine. And then for Sony to, well, I mean, first off, the state of California to be like, go home if you're not essential. So
Yeah.
trying to work from home, trying to do this, let alone then PlayStation worrying about shipping, printing, let alone PlayStation worrying about QA, approvals, legal, basically taking the entire system as you know it as a pane of glass and shattering it on the ground. And then being like, we're not going to try to piece this together in time for release.
I mean, the stupidest thing, and this matters not in comparison to everything else that's happening, much less the fact of the game. Think about the press tour, right? Like, so you know this better than anybody. It's like, all right, so here's what we do. We're going to go hit Benelux. We're going to go hit the UK. We're going to go hit all the entire country, and both foreign and domestic. And we're going to set up these very expensive, like what we did for Uncharted 4, where we bust in everybody to a castle in Rome to promote this game.
Yeah.
And for Uncharted, or for The Last of Us, they did this huge launch party in the UK. So it's like there's these massive events that we do so that people who are in the industry, like you and Alana and Danny O'Dwyer and all these people that are pundits for this industry, can go and experience it and go, you guys aren't going to believe this. Here's our thoughts. And those are our reviews. And that's what starts leading to sales. It starts leading to consumer hype. It starts, and it's just a celebration of that. We're not going to have any of that. We don't get to have the BAFTAs was, live streamed on the internet.
Right. Yeah. Different look for that one as usual.
Yeah. I mean, I wore my tux, but that's just because. But yeah, man, it has become. It's so funny because at one end of the spectrum, I'm slammed right now. And I'm fortunate that there's some projects that I'm involved in. We're powering through. There's games that are just cranking up that we're at a developmental stage where it's more about the conversations and it's more about creating characters or writing scripts. And I'm allowed to participate in that, or it's like full stop because we can't get on a performance capture stage right now. So yeah, it's and every day I'm waiting to hear from partners at other studios going, where you at? The fact that Ryan with Iron Man VR got hit with this as well, and I was so excited about that game coming out in VR.
Yeah.
what a great use of that tech. So I mean, there's a lot of people that are affected by this. And then from the other end of this, being someone who's got the desire and this burgeoning opportunity to start creating my own content. Um, the only boundaries that I have are literally just the hours in the day, because I still have a family and I still have just my life to try to balance. And I don't want to spend all day just in my studio and neglect the world outside. There was one day where I didn't go out, like I didn't leave my house, and that's physically, that's not good for me.
Yeah.
We had a whole week of rain here in Los Angeles, and we may be looking at another one next week, and that starts weighing on me in a way that's not healthy. Um, so I need to be outside. I need to see the sky. I need to see the sun, in order to just remain mentally healthy.
How you talked about this earlier, then we transitioned a little bit to work, but you just brought it kind of back up again. How have you gone about explaining this to Traveler, right? Your son, a little less than 2 years old. Like,
Dude.
how do you wrap his head around this as he was getting into what life is and how he, interacts with things on a daily basis?
The only time, I mean, we talk to him like he's a human, right? So
Yeah.
we're not. He's going to only be a child for a little while, and then he's going to be an adult. So we're raising the human, that we're not raising the child. And so we just talk to him very candidly about everything. And um, some people will go, "He doesn't understand that word." I'm like, I don't know if he does or not. I can't speak for him. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But I can tell you right now, we can have a full conversation. I can talk to him just like this, and he's going to answer me in the appropriate way. Like he'll
Yeah.
like, I said, "Dude, are you frustrated now right now because you can't go outside?" He goes, "Yes." I'm like, "Do you want to be able to go outside and throw rocks right now?" I was like, "Yes." "Do you understand why you can't?" "No." Because you did this one thing. So we talked to him very openly and candidly. And the only thing that I've noticed is he like Travis Willingham was going to let me borrow some weights because I can't go to the gym and I don't
Sure.
have anything here. And so he was like, "I'm going to come and do a drop off." It's like,
Dead drop.
yeah, come through and just roll them out. And he was able to just kind of stop in his car, stayed running and everything, and we were able to see. And he brought Ronan with him, just because he needed to get Ronan out of the house as well. And so there's a sad picture of like them so far away from each other, and all they wanted to do is like they were literally just reaching for each other because they just wanted to, because they go to the park together, they do life together. So that was a moment, obviously, when we were like, things are different right now, bud. The fact that normally Traveler has his own grocery cart, and we go to Gelson's together, and we have our cart, and he has his, and we go through, and we make a right turn as soon as we go into the store. And Cornelio, who works in produce, sees Traveler. He lights up. Traveler lights up. They go pick out a pear together, and Cornelio cuts up the pear so the Traveler has something to, a little snack while we're shopping. That's our normal routine. And so when we stopped doing that, we asked him, it's like, because I think Pam and I were talking, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna run to Gelson's," and Traveler just kind of looked at us. I'm like, "Dude, do you miss Gelson's?" He's like, yes. "Do you want to see Cornelio? What do you want?" "Pear." "Okay, well, let's talk about that." And Pam ended up getting a video from Cornelio to say hi to Traveler
That's awesome.
and had a pair and stuff. So we're trying to have that conversation be fluid. I'm fortunate that I think at this point he's still throwing rocks in our backyard. He's still, coloring. He's still playing with Play-Doh. He still gets to go outside and go on walks and do all those things. So his life isn't as impacted, but he definitely, like, he misses David because David our assistant took him to go hike in the canyons and go
Go
feed,
everywhere. Yeah, right.
all that kind of stuff. So that definitely has been like, he's like, "Where's Uncle D?" He's definitely kind of wanting to miss that.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about yeah. He doesn't live with you, does he? He's got to be quarantined on his own thing. He's got to be in his own shelter in place.
It's hard for him because it's been a solid month since he's seen and those dudes are like besties, man. So
Yeah.
the fact that it's we FaceTime with David, so that he sees him and stuff, but then sometimes that's hard because he's like, Traveler wants to show David everything. And so he'll come and is like, "I got a new black race car," and he's like, "Okay, come play with me." So it's hard.
I bet. You mentioned Travis Willingham in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you and him and Laura, obviously, this is the clique. You guys are thick as thieves, always have been since you moved out here or to California or whatever to start your voice acting careers and acting careers.
Yeah.
What was it like? I don't think we've had a conversation since it's happened on any of the shows. What was it like for basically one of your best friends, right? Or in one of your best friend couples to have a kid at pretty much the exact same time you did?
It's that moment where you go, you're out of the hypothetical and you're into the practical. Where we, Travis and Laura got married before we did, by a year, I think. I think it was a year or 2 years. I can't remember now. And then we we vacationed together. Like we would go because Pam's birthday is May 31st, Laura's is May 28th. So every year, the four of us would go someplace cool, and that was our trip of indulgence, just the four of us.
Yeah.
And we got to see some really really cool places, and we went all out for them. And every year was like, well, this could be the last year because we're gonna get pregnant. And it was all right. And then that was like the conversation for like 4 years. Margaritas, whatever. It's like, but not this year. And then finally it was like, we're here and we got pregnant, and then they got pregnant literally right after us. So
Copycats.
yeah, it was so funny was that, you never think that was going to be planned. Like you can't plan that, but how similar and how different it was to like, Travis and I saying is like, we'll be, calling each other up. It was like, oh man, uh, what crazy thing is Laura doing? What crazy thing is Pam doing? We just both like, we didn't really commiserate that much because honestly, both of them were great. Pam loved being pregnant. And they had their own unique challenges and struggled with it in their own different ways. But yeah, they're Traveler and Ronan are almost exactly 2 months to the day apart.
It's crazy.
I think Traveler's birthday. I think Traveler's birthday is May 3rd. Traveler's birthday is May 3rd, and I think Ronan's is June 28th, if I'm not mistaken. So they're just almost right there, exactly at 2 months. And how different they are. Like Ronan is a tank, and you look at him, and I mean, he's so tall already. Traveler's tall, but like Traveler came out with just these locks of blonde hair. And now it's like he can do full man bun now. We have to get his hair out of the way when he eats.
He is definitely his father's child.
The hair is on point. And then Ronan's just kind of like, yes, I've got a little bit of hair, whatever. Just like Ronan is such Travis's son, because like we went to the park before all of this, and Travis is like, watch this. And he just walked up to like the monkey bars, whatever, and he just put Ronan up there, and Ronan just hung for like a while. I was like, wow, you got just like this crazy amount of strength.
That's a Willingham right there, right? Travis is like, yeah, that's my son, no big deal.
He's just this, loves to go as fast and as high as possible, and Traveler can be sometimes like shy and trepidation, like that's my boy. Yeah, it's been fun over the last 2 years of just how, and Laura is an incredible mom. Like both she and Pam have just surprised me at how incredibly adept they are at this. And especially Laura. Laura's the kind of person, like, there's no gross things. She doesn't like gross things. And she's just dove headfirst into being a mom, and there's no fluids that she's like not cool with her son.
Sure, of course.
Everybody else just can still like, that's disgusting. Get out of my house.
Exactly. So then as Travelers now almost 2, right?
Yeah.
Has that given you a new appreciation of time? Like your birthday was what, 2 days ago? Yeah, April 1st.
Yeah, 44.
Yeah, you're getting old, right? Does it feel that way?
I feel like I'm getting younger. In a lot of ways. There's times when I feel my age, I guess you could say. It's like, that doesn't work the way it used to. I don't bounce back quite like I did before. But then there's other things where, and he is a huge impetus for this too. It's like, I got to stay around. I need to be, not only just be around, but I also want to be virile, and I want to be able-bodied, and so kind of later in life is when, because I got made fun of and picked on and beat up and stuff a lot when I was a kid, because I was so people struggle with their weight either side of it. You can either be overweight, you can be super underweight, and both of those in some ways have their own deficiencies and challenges to them.
Sure.
And I was the person that could never put on weight, and you get to that point where you're in middle school and high school, and people have sharpened their tongues so well that they know exactly what to say to get under your skin.
Yeah, they know the weak spots.
They know exactly the weak spots, and they don't just like in grade school. There's just no filter, so they'll say stuff like it was like you're stupid and ugly, and you're like, ow. But there's no like deafness to it. There's no it's a broadsword. It's not a rapier. Uh,
Yeah.
but then when they get to the high school, then it's just it makes you question your identity. And so now that I'm older, and this really started happening with me in my 40s, where just life goes, all right, deal with this shit. Uh, I I had to find a different set of tools in order to um, deal with those external forces that are trying to challenge my narrative of myself. And so here along comes Traveler and goes, I know that you've been going to the gym, and it's no longer about vanity. This is about virility, and this is about health, and you being here because I want to see that boy grow up, uh,
Mm.
and I want to see him graduate, and I want to see him get married, and I want us to. I don't want to be sitting there going, "Dad, do you remember me? Who are you?" And that also means keeping my mind sharp too.
Yeah.
It's about I got to keep in step with this kid, and he's already running in so many ways. So I do, but then it's this weird balance between I'm doing everything that I can right now as a dad and as an adult and as a man, whatever that means,
As a man.
to provide. And so it's hard to tell him like he was like, hey, can oh, he needed to wash his hands because he just gone to the bathroom. And he's like, daddy, wash hands. And I was like, I can't. I got to go in my room and I got to go do the thing. And that I don't want it to disappoint those things. I
Mm,
wanted to
mm.
understand that. And Pam's also really good about this too, going, hey, I'm my own person. So I know you want to be held by me right now, but I'm my own person, and you can't be up with me right now because I want to do what I need to do right now for me.
Yeah.
So we're balancing that with also, I don't want to miss a thing. So time has become this incredibly precious commodity that every second of it, I have to make sure that I'm investing it and not just pissing it away.
Mm. Yeah. Well said, I guess. Now, what about feeling younger? How does it make you feel younger? Or how do you feel younger? I guess not.
Because I I started becoming more diligent and aware of what I was eating and how I was eating,
Mm, mm.
and I stopped smoking, and
Good.
yeah, for sure, man. And just started treating my body with more respect, because when something stops working the way that you want it to, and you go, come on. uh, you you start realizing it's like, man, my heart has never stopped since the time it began, which is one of the first organs that begins in utero. uh it hasn't stopped, and the fact that I don't treat that with a level of respect that says, Thanks, like you're tirelessly working, and I'm actively doing things to fuck you up." uh I I deserve to, or the onus is on me to make sure that I'm treating my heart with just respect and being so grateful. And especially when I like Kevin Smith, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, has that heart attack, and I was like, that guy's not much older than me, right? He's like 5, 6 years older than me. I'm like, God, that's creeping up fast. And you start looking at 50 and going, all right, now shit's real. Uh, but I think that um the the youth comes from just being more active, and choosing to I don't know, just choosing to challenge myself in ways that makes me remember that my legs do work, my arms do work, my eyes work, my ears work, my heart works, my head works, most of the days. So it's finding ways to go. I'm still young, right?
Yeah.
I'm not old. I'm still young.
I want to jump and I want to bring this what you're talking about here because you're talking about doing things that make you feel young, right? And new challenge and stuff that I want to talk about content creation. However, before I bring up that question, I
Yeah.
want to point out your camera has frozen. So
My
I don't
entire
know.
computer has frozen.
Your entire computer is frozen. Well, then maybe we shouldn't touch anything. Maybe we just roll with no.
Imagine, well, look at that. Look at that face.
Kevin, what do you want to do? You're in charge, Kev.
I mean, it's a scary one because if we try to do too much, there's a chance we lose him forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could rejoin the call, right?
Yeah, sure. Why doesn't he try doing stuff?
Yeah, I got to do the whole intro I haven't done anyway. So you want to try to do stuff, Troy? You can try to do stuff.
Oh, we lost him. He's gone.
Well, he's trying stuff then. That's how it works. Don't worry about it. Hey, everybody. It's me, Greg Miller. And this, of course, is We Have Cool Friends, the cool show where we interview the cool friends in our lives about the cool things they're doing. If you like that, you should, of course, like, subscribe, and share. Remember, We Have Cool Friends is part of Kind of Funny's irregularly scheduled programming. Your next one is Monday. The guest, I'm working on it. However, you can get it on youtube.com/kindoffunny, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every time. Remember, it's one of our newest shows, if not the newest show. I'm not counting Greg Way and whatever Bless calls his. Bless Up, right? That's what he changed it to. You can, of course, support it, like I said, patreon.com/kindoffunny. You can go there. You can get the show ad-free. You can get it with, no, there's no push on this one, but you can ask your questions in the friend zone, like so many of you have for Troy. Of course, you can also be a Patreon producer over there, meaning that you show up, you support us, and we read your name on each and every episode, just like Mohammed, a.k.a. Momo, Justin Toft, Das Bear Jew, Blackjack, and Downtown Jarrett Brown, our Patreon producers for the month of April. Thank you for your support. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. Kevin, still working. Well, not Kevin's on. Kevin's resized me, right, Kev? That's what you did? Hey, everybody. It's me, Greg.
Oh, my mic's still on. Yeah, I did.
Good job. I like that. I can hear you.
Kev can.
You think the chat hears you?
I can see that they can hear me.
I'm joking around. I'm sure they can hear you.
Oh, but what a funny joke.
We're having fun today. Troy Maker restarting his computer, I assume. We'll be here momentarily, and we will see what happens. Of course, this is... What?
You think he's restarting his computer?
That or he just walked away, which I wouldn't blame him for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'd be the Troy Baker go out on a high note.
Got
Bam,
up, put some pants on, and was like, I'm going to change my life right now.
I'm never talking to Greg Miller, Kind of Funny again. I'm out the door. I remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a podcast listener, you're like, what the hell's going on? Remember, we are working from home like, I guess, the rest of the world. But that means that we're doing a whole bunch of different things and Skyping and Discording and bringing in things and OBSing. And there's always something that'll go wrong. And this is why next time somebody's like, we should Skype in more hosts, we don't do it. Well, I mean, not for this show, we do it, but not for everything else. You know what I mean?
Everything. No.
Troy Baker's rejoined the call. We will see what happens. It's weird though. Like I was saying, Kevin, I don't know if you've been on the shows where I've said this. Maybe it was just Kind of Funny podcast stuff, but I still do the thing of, oh man, I like last night when I was getting ready for bed, I was like, all right, and we have cool friends with Troy tomorrow. And I pictured Troy walking into the office and I was like, no, it's not going to be, hey Troy, I can hear you.
Yeah, how weird. But for some reason, you can't see me though, correct?
Hey man, that's 50% of the battle right there. I'll take it.
My God. My God.
Hey, this is why it's Corona time. Anything can happen. Don't worry. That's when you know it's fucking real, when you hear somebody off mic going like, God damn it. Fuck. They're trying to move the camera around, do whatever's going to happen. I know it well from this 2 weeks ride of Corona time.
Greg, while we do this, look at one of the favorite things that I've been doing.
No, I saw you do this earlier, but go ahead and do it. I love it. Look at, there he is. What's little Kevin looking at down there? What's he see down there? Oh, he's that little guy. Kevin was here. If you're an audio listener, Kevin has moved
my left
himself.
hand not move? Oh, there it is. It's my right hand. That's why.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. All I do know is that I'm going to be spending some time with Apple Care today.
Don't worry about it. This is fine. We can just let it roll from here. And actually, Kevin, if I'm not wrong, you can get a picture of Troy, right? And bring that and put it in his little box anyway. No, because this isn't the right way. Oh, wait, hold on. Something's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
Hey, we're back. We got it.
Back. I don't know if this Brio is the situation or not. I might reach out to
Logitech.
Logitech and go, hey guys.
Somebody explain why this is happening. You know, because that's how I am with all of my PC problems. Of like, I don't know.
Customer support, so I'm sure it'll
Who does?
be easy. Logitech.
Logitech is great. Yeah. Isn't that Sarah dope?
All right. So back onto this then. All right. You ready, Trey? You ready to go back to me? Come back to me. You readjust me. Good. Perfect.
Weird. Yeah, I feel like I'm hunkered down, but
well, we are all hunkered down. It's Corona time, you know. Also, what kind of coffee were you drinking there? Is that iced coffee? Is that what you got?
No, it's just the
Espresso?
Nespresso, but this is their new cup. I love
Wow.
it.
Very
Yeah.
nice. I like that a lot.
Wait, I'm sorry. Does that have a little handle on the side like the little cups?
hmm
Oh,
Look at that.
all right. I'm about that.
All right. Yeah, Kevin loves handles.
I
Anyways,
like sleek, modernist looking
things.
coffee mugs.
Drinkware.
Yeah, drinkware. Ooh,
You
hell
like
yeah.
that? I've walked through a Target, sir, and I've looked at the signs.
And honestly, dude, your framing is brilliant because
Thank
you've
you.
got like this great, like I would love to set up mine that way too, to really get this long shot behind.
Yeah, make your house look really long. And then everybody gets excited when they see Jen come out and she does her little appearances.
Just like walking in the background.
Yeah, it's her and Lucy James. People get excited during the shows for it. It's because it's, I digress. We're talking about age. You're talking about feeling young. And you
Yeah.
talked about, doing things to keep, obviously, your body healthy, but also your mind. Where does content creation come into that? Because, again, it's one of those things where I think you've been on the show so many times. You've always been such a supporter of Kind of Funny, and I can't thank you enough for that. You're a good friend and a cool friend. Hey. But I don't think we've had you on since, I would say, we haven't had you on in the way where the content creation has been such a big part of it, right? Where it is, of course, that like you come on as the actor before and all this stuff and our friend and everything. But like, now you're doing obviously Play, Watch, Listen with Lana Bithell.
Yeah.
You're doing Retro Replay with Nolan.
Yeah.
I see you all the time making different things on social media, right? Like I remember when you guys launched Retro and I was like, oh, this is cool. I wonder how long this will last or who they're working with because I don't think they understand how much work it's going to be. But you clearly do, and you've put in the work.
What's funny is I remember when Nolan and I came up to the studio and we walked in. And by the way, I'm repping today too. There you go.
Look at that, the Cool Greg shirt. You are the night. Kindoffunny.com/store, everybody.
We walked in, and what a lot of people don't realize is, yes, on camera it looks like chaos, right? But there's also there's this very controlled chaos. Like Nick is the puppet master that's making sure everything happened. Tim is constantly doing deals. You just have like this really cool factory that's happening, just so that whatever's happening on camera at that moment happens.
Yeah.
And we were kind of back in the back. I think it was sitting at your desk actually. And we go through and we're prepping with Nick on some of the stuff that we're going to do. We come in and we do the shows that we're going to do, and you're like, guys, thank you so much for being here, and you're off to the next thing.
Yeah,
And
right. I don't get to actually hang out with you most of the time. I'm doing
No,
games
it's
daily or
just
doing
like-
something else or doing something
because you
around
have
it.
to go from I'm going to take 2 minutes to go and pee, and then I'm going to do my next thing. Because you guys are just cranking, and Nolan was like, man, those guys are a machine. I was like, yeah, like that's there was I was like two, like he was like, holy crap. I'm like, yes, that's the shit that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So for me, as far as like starting to delve into this, it's humbling because I am constantly reminded about my ignorance and limitations, and how it's I reach out and I depend greatly upon people that have been doing, like yourself, who have been doing this and have found a way to be successful, not only in just creating content, but also in cultivating community.
Sure.
At the risk of being overly alliterative. That's the thing that I really hold in such high regard, because as we've seen, anybody can have a video that goes viral. Anybody that can have a bit that's funny for a minute. But we now have a society where it's like 24 hours is a long time,
Yep.
and anything that lives beyond that is truly phenomenal. Now that we're kind of all in quarantine, that I think that's happening. It's almost on the hourly, because
Well,
people are constantly scrolling.
I don't know if it's been the same for you, and I understand how busy you are, and I think that's reflected obviously in the content creator lifestyle, and obviously then you actually being an actor and having all these different gigs. But for me, like the fact that I'm not going to the studio, I'm not taking a lunch the normal way, I'm not in between shows, I'm not waiting for a camera to get set up or a focus or whatever. I find myself I don't even open Instagram now until the end of the day, and then it's impossible to catch up on everything, right? Like I feel like all these different, like Twitter's different because I use it so much for work, but even Reddit, like all the places that I usually was using as like a time killing app, I have no time to kill because I feel like it is back to how it was when we started this and we were in the spare bedroom, and I did live next door to it, live literally next door to the room, right? Where I can always work. There's always work to do. And I don't think it's been helpful that, like, since we've come home, there's been like the Resident Evil review and Half-Life review, and like there's always a game to be reviewing that's a big deal right now. So it's eating up so much time. But it's this weird thing where quarantine life is different than I thought it was going to be. Where I do, people are always like, oh, well, or people, I think when we were thinking this is going to happen, it's like, oh, well, people play more video games than ever, which they are obviously, but they're going to do this and they're going to, read this more. And I'm like, I haven't even looked at a comic book or looked at a game I'm not reviewing, or, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm so heads down that it's stressing me out how busy we are.
I thought that I was like, everyone's going to be bored.
Yeah.
And that's not the case at all. It's like we're cranking right now. And I want to find the place where, again, it's about constantly maintaining balance and making sure that I'm not keeping my head too far down, because then I think that you can just create this own cycle of yourself. And I believe that if art, who said this? I think it was an interview that I did the other day. Someone said art doesn't become art until it's interpreted. Interpreted, sorry. Interpreted informations. And because I believe that true art must be accessible. Otherwise, you're just creating for yourself. And so if I keep my head down too much and I'm doing this, then I'm not actually creating anything that's resonant or reflective of what's happening in the world and community. So for me, this has been, and I feel like I'm starting to diverge away from the original question that you asked. But
Troy, this is your show. You take it wherever you want to take it. We're here for the ride, brother.
I feel like as a content creator, like so much has changed because I've had a career, and I've had 20 years, whatever now, of people giving me the opportunity to play other characters. And I love that.
Of course.
I never want to stop doing that. I want to build on top of that. And I think that there are other roles out there and I'm finding stuff that I've never done before, and it's challenging me in new ways. So then I'm just constantly playing the same person. But there's now this opportunity for me to do something that I've never done before, which is, all right, just be you. People want to get to know who Troy is. And here's an opportunity for me not to hide behind a character it's not that I don't play to my strengths. There's still stuff that I walk around my house and I do funny voices. But this is an opportunity for me to go, okay, what do you guys want to know about? How can I share my life with you? How can I share my experiences with you? And hopefully in some way that encourages you to go out and have your own experiences or find your version of art that you want to share with people. So that's the thing that I didn't anticipate happening. And again, with quarantine life, hashtag quarantine life, I feel like that's given me even more opportunity to connect with people on that level.
Sure. I think, it's, I think we talked about it last night, actually, where I've tweeted about it the other day that, like, I've been surprised that in the midst of all of this, the Kind of Funny podcast is doing better on YouTube than normal. And I think it is that thing that people are at home, and I'd expect them to, be drawn more towards the video games, more towards the movies. And I think now that we're all so sheltered, no pun intended, right, and isolated, it is this idea that you actually want to go the opposite way and go connect with people and see how the voices and people you already know are really dealing with all this and what they feel on a day-to-day basis. Because as your mood changes, I think, you then extrapolate out that everybody's mood changes, and you need to see the funny in it. You need to see the sad in it. You need to see the happy in it.
It's like, am I alone in this? Am I the only one that's feeling this way? Or are there other people that are feeling the exact same way that I am? How are you dealing with this? And that's why I'm really inspired and encouraged when I see people like Jimmy Fallon that are, I'm going to do my show in my bathtub. And there almost became this huge disconnect between people wanting to do this big produced thing. And when it's like, well, that's not me. That doesn't relate to me. And it's not that I want to experience that right now. I want someone to meet me where I'm at. And so that's everything that I'm doing right now, is trying to find a way to meet people where they're at, as opposed to trying to pull people to where I am. unless it's a place of where someone's at a even if they're at a very dark place, and I'm being there's a lot of people that are reaching out that are in that dark place.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I thrive. I'm like the cheerleader. I'm the effusive encourager, supportive paraclete guy that's going to come alongside of you. I'm the Burgess Meredith going to go, you got to rock. But that's who I love being, and trying to find ways I'm a big proponent of the notion that adversity is not an enemy, it's a teacher, and we should welcome it as such. It's like, okay, what do you want to teach me? Because you're not going to break me. So what can I learn from you? That's the kind of notion that I take.
And that's such a good one, because that's what so many people need to hear. And I think that, that's why this works, I think, right? And why like the kind of funny best friend thing works is because it is about being authentic with our audience and being there with you and understanding that and being in the trenches. And like I always say, we're in your ears, or you're watching the shows like on your good days and your bad days. We become part of the routine, and we understand our relationship in that, right? And the weight that carries.
And I think that it's important to show the bad. I think it's important to show it's like, we're not having a good day today.
Yeah, 100%.
To trust your audience and to trust your community enough to go, can you guys help us? I was having a really bad day the other day, and my response whenever I'm having a rough time is I will I isolate even further, and I'll just kind of start shutting down. And like even Pam noticed something was weird because she was like, "Are you hungry?" I was like, "No, I don't want to eat." And that was always my thing. There's some people that go the other way. They eat emotionally and they'll eat more. I eat less. Um, and it was the day that I hadn't gone outside. It was just kind of like everything was kind of bearing down on me. And there's I partnered up with Cameo, and the main reason why is because I wanted to find a way to directly connect with people using a platform to encourage them. And so I had a lot of these videos that were waiting. They're like, "Hey, you need to do these. These people are waiting for this." I'm like, the last thing I feel like doing right now is getting on my phone and telling somebody, is encouraging someone, and I did it. And what I found is that by encouraging somebody else, it encouraged me, because it's impossible for me to focus on the negative when I'm talking about the positive,
Yeah.
because my brain is going, well, wait a minute. Are you hearing what you're saying? Because if you truly believe this, then we're okay. And it was one of the best things that I did that actually pulled myself out of this dark place, was reminding someone that it's okay to feel the way that you do, and to just kind of be open and vulnerable and go, I'm struggling with this right now too. And
Yeah.
if you and I can maybe help each other, and maybe if you and I can get through this together, then maybe we'll have learned something from this, and maybe we can help somebody else go out and do the same. But I can't do that and just be like, it's gonna be all right. I have to own the fact that it's like, man, this sucks today. Yeah, I'm feeling that level of anxiety. I feel it too. And this is what I do. And this is how I get out of it. Can you help me?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I always try to stress to people, right? When they write in, especially in times like these where they're like, yeah, like, oh, the show is a sense of normalcy and it helps me, get through this, whatever. I'm like, we have to understand that making the show gives us that same feeling of you listening to the show, right? Like it's been a rough morning here, like just the normal malaise of all this, right? And like things going on. And so it's like, that sucks. But when I sit down to do a show, right? Like, that's not what the show's about. So we're going to go have fun and do this thing. And it's great for an hour or whatever, hour and a half, to sit here and talk about everything else and talk about it too. But understand, like you're saying, that like, well, look at all this other good shit that's happening. Look at how this works. Look at how this is, it's all part of life, right?
I think it's the yes, but.
Yeah.
Yes, that sucks. But we also got this, and we also get the chance to do this.
Yeah. Troy, are
Right.
you ready to enter the friend zone, where the kind of funny best friends write in and ask you questions?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
Here's one that I like a lot, and it's long, but we're going to get to the question. All right.
Okay.
But it's interesting because it's a video game kind of question I've thought about before and never asked you about before.
Okay.
Samuel Griffin writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like you can. It says, hello, Greg and Troy. BioShock Infinite is one of my favorite games for the PlayStation 3/360 era, and one of my favorite endings to a story ever. Not only did it mentally break me with its crazy twists and turns, but it also emotionally broke me. No spoilers, but the last shot of the game and the piano notes accompanying it give me goosebumps just writing this question 7 years later. But what did I see as the credits rolled and I was trying to put the pieces back together and comprehend what I just played? A video starts with Booker and Elizabeth, Troy and Courtney, are back together and happy. And we get to hear them sing the full song of Will the Circle Be Unbroken. Tears, man. Full tears. This moment was so unexpected and so wonderful. It was exactly what I needed at a time to find some closure and finish such an amazing game. Gushy ramble over. My question for Troy is, did you know when you were filming this performance in the booth that it was going to end up being the credits?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I always wondered that when you're doing stuff like that, how much you know of where it's going to be placed and what it's going to be.
So that moment right there 100% belongs to the credit for that goes to Ken. He was the one who had this crazy notion that what we were going to do is we were going to. I just told this story to someone the other day. We would record. Courtney and I would fly to Boston, and we would. That game was recorded in more studios, like in Los Angeles, in Boston. Like it's crazy where all we record. We started at Irrational and then it moved just like to whole these different
I
places.
vaguely remember when that game was coming out or wrapping up or something where they shared footage, and maybe I was on Up at Noon with you, but it was like, here's a shot from the first day of it, and you guys, I mean, Courtney looked like a baby, like it would, like you guys had been on that game for so long together.
So long, 2.5, 3 years of recording, I think. We started that right at the same time as we started The Last of Us, and then we finished Last of Us after. So it was pretty crazy. Almost
Wow.
the same thing like Traveler Ronin, like those are within months of each other. So we had this idea, or Ken had this idea. He was like, "Hey, we showed up to the studio, and the studio was across from Fenway Park, and you had like be buzzed in. You went to the second floor, and there was a whole other separate door, and it was a part of what's the school there? The music school. I can't remember.
Juilliard.
No,
Just took a swing. Just got to jump out, swing sometimes.
I can't remember. But it was
Boston School of Music school.
No, it's
Music's Beatles. The Beatles.
Yeah, Beatles or Stones are always like, or Pamela will just always punt to the Eagles. Like this is Guns N' Roses. Like I don't know, the furthest thing away from the Eagles.
Yeah.
But we had this. We show up for the session, and Ken was like, "You play guitar, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I got this idea, and if the player at this one part of the game goes down the stairs and goes through this door." And sees the guitar, and his term was always frob. You could frob the guitar, which means you can interact with it, pick it up, or whatever. And if they do this, then this moment will play out. And it's like there's this spiritual song that it's old gospel tune called "Will the Circle Be Unbroken?" Do you know? And it's like, I mean, kind of maybe I've heard it once. And so we start playing it and kind of going through it, and me being me, I start just getting after it on guitar, trying to impress people.
Sure, as you do.
And he goes, "Okay, Booker, it's good. Listen, but you're really good at guitar. He isn't." You're right. And he's like, "I need you just to play very simply. This is a very simple moment." And he goes, "What I want is that Booker remembers this song, and he starts playing it, and there's something about it that Liz just kind of goes, huh, as she starts singing it. And it's the moment where they come together and have this moment together. And of course, the reason why she would know that song is because he taught it to her, unbeknownst to them and to us at that moment.
Spoilers.
Yeah. It's been long enough. You can sled, okay? So we have this moment, and that day, Courtney Draper's grandfather was, I believe, in the act of passing away, and she was very close to him, and she was very sad. And so here is this song that is saying, will now their circle has been broken. Will it be complete one day? It's just this beautiful, like somber moment, and reflecting on those who have passed. So she's crying. We're crying. Ken's crying. It's this beautiful moment, and Ken to this day he looks back. He's like, "That was my favorite moment working on the game," and like favorite moment, not in the game, but favorite moment. Just like I think back to that moment, and it brings him such joy. And so he kind of surprised us by making that the end credits. He was like, it was just too good of a moment to not do in there, and so he put that in there. Um, and it won awards, just for best use of music and stuff. It was just this great, great thing. But he deserves full credit for that moment. It was a very ambitious moment, and there's only been two moments like that that I can think of in music or in games with music. One is obviously the moment with Bioshock, and the other would be Red Dead Redemption.
Mm,
Um, where you're crossing from Texas into Mexico and that Jose Gonzalez song Far Away plays and you're on the stick
yeah.
and playing this source music as opposed to like this big score or whatever. And it just shows me and my buddy Austin Wintory and I have this conversation a lot of just how much music plays a part in film for sure, but it's a completely different experience. Music in a game, it's a totally different thing. It hits us on a different level.
You bring up there Bioshock and Last of Us hitting so close together and
Yeah.
recording in tandem pretty much.
Yeah.
I have a question here from Ethan
Okay.
Anander. Hey Troy,
Hi.
what would you consider your big break? And what was the casting process like for when you were just starting out? Thanks and keep being awesome, Ethan. My question for you is in line with this, and I want to know how you would interpret that big break question. But then I would want to follow up if it's not the same point with where do you think like big break could either mean you're getting your foot in the door in the industry, or big break could be when you became the Troy Baker. And I don't use that in the usual way where I make fun of you. I mean it in the sense that like you are fucking Troy Baker right now, and TMZ is going to follow you, and you could have all these opportunities and stuff. Where do you think? So what do you interpret as your big break, and then also where do you think? Not that your career skyrocketed, because I hate the you're an overnight success that took 10 years, but you turned that corner.
I think it's been stages. It's a great question, Ethan. Thank you. There's a great actor named Glenn Morshower, who became a friend through a couple of projects that we worked on together. But he said your career is about singles and doubles. A lot of times it's just about getting on base. You're not always going to hit it out of the park. Every once in a while you can, but it's singles and doubles. And I really took that to heart. But I mean, I remember the first time I'd been at bat before, but the first time where I like got my first double was with Final Fantasy, and the casting for that is a very interesting story because I was originally cast as Sid, and I was stoked because there's a Sid in every Final Fantasy game, so I was like, "This is going to be awesome." But before I even started recording, I found out that Jack Fletcher, who was the voice director on that and had been, he like done the Final Fantasy movie, he'd done Final Fantasy games, and to this day, he remains a dear friend and a mentor. He and I had never worked together before, but he felt like I was a better choice for Snow, and he told the developer, "Listen, you either let Troy be this character, or I'll walk."
Wow.
And it was a power play because he wanted to make sure that they trusted him, and that Square was willing to trust him as the director for this, because it was going to be they were going to make the Japanese version of the game and they were going to make the Western version of the game. There was going to be a lot of differences between the two, just to make sure that it resonated with the culture that it was intended to, right?
Sure.
Um, and so Jack was going to be kind of heading that up with the liaison person with Square. So it was a powerful move. But when I walked in to record as Snow, he was like, "Listen, don't you fuck this up because both of our asses are on the line."
No pressure. It's just what you need to hear before you step in front of the mic.
Right, but that was the first time that it was like, "Oh shit, look, I'm a lead character on a AAA title, a legacy title, a huge franchise." That was the first time for that. Um, and then obviously with when BioShock came out, and then right after that, Last of Us came out, I got a call from the head of casting for I think Fox, and my agent said, "So and so wants to meet you." I'm like, "Am I in trouble?" And I drove onto the Fox lot and I go to her office, and her assistant was like, "Can I get you anything to drink?" I was like, "No, I'm good." And I walk into her office and she's on a call. She gets off that call and she doesn't even like doesn't acknowledge me at all. She's just on her computer. She's like, "Okay, Dennis, that sounds great. Yeah, thank you so much." And she clackies on her keyboard, and she pulls up something on her computer and she spins the monitor around and she shows me my IMDb star meter. And she says, "You're higher than Jennifer Aniston. Why have I never heard of you?" And it's because Last of Us had just hit, and so the metrics and the algorithm of IMDb said this person is really important for the next 5 minutes. And she's like, "Why have I never heard of you?" And I was like, "I have no idea." I was like, "I do video games, and so every once in a while I get to do cartoons." She's like, "Have you ever done TV or film?" But that was like a moment where I was like, "Oh shit, this is this is different."
Yeah.
Uh, and so those have definitely been moments where an opportunity that was given to me, I was brave enough to walk through that door, brave enough to fail. And then it just turned out that I happened to be on the right ship. I easily could have gone the other way. And it's like, oh, you were in this disastrous thing
Yeah.
that everybody wishes they could forget. Um, but the one thing that I wanted to make sure is that every opportunity that I've been given, I'm responsible with it. And I do it with reckless abandon.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Jordan writes in this same
Cool.
vein as well, and they don't see each other's questions, so it's just I should just let everybody write in their questions, and the show makes itself.
Cool.
Are there any roles you were offered that you turned down that, in hindsight, you really wish you took, and vice versa, roles you took that you really wish you turned down?
Um, everybody has those funny stories. Yeah, there's some roles that I've had that I don't necessarily know if I refuse to subscribe to regret,
Mhm.
because there's no point in it. I can have remorse and go, oh, that was a misstep. I shouldn't have done that, and hopefully either make recompense for that, or at least learn from it so that I don't make the same mistake twice. However, I'll tell a story where there was a job that I turned down not once but twice, and that was the Joker. Uh, I I was everybody there was an open casting call. I got an audition, and all I knew was the character's name. I think I've told you this story before, but the character's name was Jack. And I walked in and I looked at the script and I read it through because we didn't get the materials ahead of time. You signed in, you signed an NDA. They gave you the materials, and then you went into the booth. And it was Amanda Wyatt and Eric. I can't remember his last name. Sorry, bud. The creative director for Warner Brothers Montreal, and I looked at the script and I was like, "Okay, so do you guys want like Mark Hamill, or are you wanting something different?" And they both were like, oh, what are you talking about?" I was like, "Well, this is clearly the Joker." And I'm like, "How do you know?" It's like, "Well, because that's from Dark Knight. This is from Batman the Animated Series, and this is the Killing Joke monologue. This is the Tunnel of Love monologue from
He
Killing Joke."
knows too much. Get him out.
Yeah, they were like, well, we don't want a Mark Hamill, but we want to believe that this would be a younger version of what Mark Hamill has done." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." They're like, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Do you just want to kind of warm up and start with some of the easier lines?" I was like, "No," because I had a feeling I was going to suck at this. But I was like, "Oh, but I'll be damned if I'm not getting out of this door without doing this Killing Joke monologue."
Hell
Because
yeah.
it wasn't like I've ever sat around and went, "I wonder what my version of the Joker sounds like." I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to do it." And they had a camera rolling just for reference or whatever, and I did the monologue, and then I left. And that was the last I heard of it for weeks. And I was down at Comic-Con, and I was with Paul Crocker. And he was just like, he said, he goes like, "Let's meet for a beer." And we sat down a few blocks away from the convention center, and he was like, "So they're going to offer you the role." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Of what?" He goes, "Joker." And I went, "Oh, oh no, man. No." Because I instantly was filled with fear, because I had been kind of riding high. BioShock had come out, Last of Us had come out, Second Son was about to get going. I mean, like I was doing good.
Yeah.
What if I that imposter syndrome kicks up and is like, what if I do something that I'm not good at, and the world really sees that I can do one trick really, really well, but you start really stretching me, and I'm not that good. And the only job at that point that I've been fired from within this industry, I've been fired from plenty of other jobs. The only job that I've been fired from was one that required laughing.
Oh.
And well, obviously that was going to be part of the gig. And I was like, what if I can't do this? So I said, no, man, no. And I turned it down. And then they came with the official offer and I turned it down again. And I got a call from uh, the president of Warner Brothers, Ames Kirchen at the time, president of Warner Brothers Games. And he goes, can you come by the office? And I was like, yeah, dude. So I drove over to Burbank and I went to the office and went and, sat into his office. And kind of the same thing with the Fox casting person. He pulls up my audition and he plays it for me, which is always super awkward to see your own audition back. And it's me on camera. And he goes, you see that? That's really good. I was like, thank you, man. He goes, no, you don't get it. We think that's really good. And we're really smart. We think you can do this. So why, no bullshit. Why do you not want to do this? And I was like, I just not sure if that's the right career move for me. I was like, don't bullshit me, man. Why do you not want to do this? It's because I'm scared. I'm scared that I'm going to really mess this up. He was like, why don't you trust us that we really want to make a successful game and we're not going to make you look bad? Shut up and take the role. And so I did. And both Roger Craig Smith and I, of course, who played Batman in that, and he plays an amazing Batman. And there's very few people that I'm ever like. Kevin Conroy should just be like, even after he dies, he should just still be Batman. Somehow
we
we
just record, have him record every word and every inflection, have it ready to go.
so that we can get Kevin Conroy to be Batman forever. But Jason O'Mara has really done a fantastic job.
Totally.
And Roger Craig Smith did specifically with Arkham Origins was just incredible. He just did it again for Red Sun. He's just so good. But he and I both, every session we would walk out, it was like, wow, that's it. They're gonna replace us with Kevin and Mark. Like that's we were even in London about to go out at the press junket, and we're like, they're gonna say, guys, actually, you stay back here. We got Kevin and Mark, and they're gonna come out. But that's just I almost walked out of the Joel audition because I
Really?
was
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Literally, my hand was on the door, turning the knob, about to walk out, and they called my name. And it was all because of fear, because I walked into that waiting room where all the other actors, where all the other potential Joels were, and sat in each chair in that room was a version of the guy that was on the page that I had in my hand.
Mm.
And I instantly felt intimidated and insecure, and that fear swallowed up every bit of work and preparation that I had done for that role that had led me to a truth about Joel that nobody knew but me. And it was my truth. Now, not to say that those other actors had not done the same thing and they had their truth, but I knew my truth about Joel. And as it turns out, was the truth, was the version of Joel that Naughty Dog wanted to show in their game. But I came this close to walking out of that audition and my life forever not being what it is now. I would be sitting here talking to you about this game because I was afraid.
Wow. You'd still be talking to me though. We would.
We'd just be talking about the next piece of shit game that I was gonna do.
Wait, what's the next game you're gonna do? Yeah,
The next
tell us
piece of
about
shit
it.
game.
No, Dark Void 2.
Okay. Binary Domain 2. That's what we're working on right now.
So, do you still struggle with imposter syndrome like that? Does that still creep in your head, or now that you've done the biggest stuff in the world, you have to worry about it?
It has nothing to do with now I have enough accomplishments. Now I have enough accolades. Now, look, dude, 4-time nominee for BAFTA, 4-time non-recipient. Okay,
4-time loser.
4-time loser. If I was dependent upon those external validations, then I could easily spiral, or I would go up and I would go down. I would go up. So I've chosen to a less dynamic life and a less dynamic view of myself by really understanding that first, all is opinion.
Sure.
All is opinion. And there are things that I can control in this world, and there are things that I cannot. The only two things that I can control are my thoughts and my actions. Everything else is outside of my control. And this column is enough to fill my day. So if I focus on controlling my thoughts and my actions, and not worry about the things that I can't control, much less having an opinion about that, then that to me has really benefited me. But I believe that I want my narrative to be the strongest narrative about me. I want my version of my story to be louder and written in bolder ink than any other version, because there are a lot of people that come into my life, and there's a lot of people that will come into your life, who will try to write your story louder and with bigger letters than you. And I feel that our job, my job, is to make sure that the story that I'm telling, I'm the one who's holding the pen. It's my narrative, and my narrative is stronger than anybody else's. So it's not about, well, now that I've done The Last of Us, now that I've done The Last of Us 2, now that I have this, now I remember the perfect example of this is, um, my first movie that I ever did, or first like on camera job, was a pilot that never got picked up, that I did with Lou Diamond Phillips. And I was a huge Young Guns fan. So I was like, holy
Hell
crap,
yeah.
Chavez, man. Ayate. And we sat there. I had just quit smoking, but I was trying to find an inroad to actually talking to him offset. And so I walked out of my trailer, and I was just freaked out that I actually had a trailer. And I walked over to his trailer. I was like, hey, man, can I bum a cigarette? I was like, yeah, of course. He gave me a cigarette, and we lit up, and we're, hey, man, can I ask you a question?
2 seconds, totally blow it. You're like, whatever, I gotta do this.
What do you want to know, kid? And we got talking, and he actually became a very dear friend, and kind of took me under his wing, and taught me a lot. And one of the things that he taught me on that shoot, I said, at what point in your career do you, he goes, stop. And I went, I haven't even asked the question. He goes, you're already wrong. Because the question that I hear you asking is, at what point do I feel I have arrived? He goes, if you believe in something, you ask for it from the jump, but it better be worth the asking. And he goes, because you will never arrive. It will never be a point in your career where you have achieved anything where you feel like you can now ask for anything. And so I now see the fact that it's not about the accomplishments. It's not about, well, now that I have this job, because every job is different. And every time I step foot on a stage or into a booth, there are different demands, different boundaries, and a different set of rules that are being offered to me that I have to adapt to. And if I go, hey, I'm the guy that just did the thing, they're like, get the hell out of our booth.
You suck, leave.
You suck. Because they're not trying to make the game that I've already made. They're trying to make the game that they need to make and they want to make. So it serves me and them better for me to meet them where they are at than for me to try to prove to them why I deserve to be there.
That's a really good answer. Really good story.
Thanks.
Talk to La Bamba. That's huge.
Jordan, right? That asked that?
Yes. I already scrolled past it, but I think so. We're going to give it to him. Yes, that was Jordan. Good job, Jordan. Cool. And also I've noticed I pulled up the tab because I want to double check myself. It's from long ago. Eric Holmes is who you're looking for. Eric Holmes.
Man.
Of course, left WB Montreal. Now he's over at Dice. Yes, exactly.
I haven't seen what that guy's been working on either. I know that he's not at Warner Bros. Montreal anymore. I'm not sure what he's doing.
He's over in Stockholm working with Dice.
Is it Dice with Dice?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like, ooh. Good.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh man, Troy Baker about to talk shit about Dice.
No, not at all.
While we're here, because I think this is an interesting one, because every time you come around and we fuck around and we do these shows and stuff, I always take for granted, like, obviously you're Troy Baker, acclaimed voice actor, so I never ask you specific stuff about your jobs anymore. Kendall Cunningham writes in to We Have Cool Friends at patreon.com/kindoffunny and says, hi, Troy. Huge fan of everything you do. I was wondering, have there been any roles that when first approached about them, you felt you might not be right for, or even enjoy doing them, but wound up loving in the end? So I don't know if Joker is the right answer there, because that's something I feel like you felt intimidated about. Was there ever one you took that was, I'm going to take this as a job, a paycheck or whatever, or this isn't really what I want, but I'm going to do it, and then you ended up connecting with the character? Or do you always connect with the character in the end because you're that person?
I think you have to. I think that's the job of the actor, is to connect. But I'm going to give you one that I think is going to surprise and cut deep for you. Hi, Jen.
Jen, Troy says hi. She says hi back. She was making something good over there. It smells real good. And that's Porty right there, as you can see. People, I saw it in the chat.
There was a job that I got. I was familiar with the franchise, but I was like, this will be cool. And I thought it was going to be kind of like, it was a tough badass, and I was like, okay. And it was going to be a little kind of, it felt on the page like it might be a little cheesy, a little hokey, but it's like, there's going to be a certain amount of sessions, so it'll be fine. So I walked in, and we start going through the session, and I was like playing around with the voice type, and I'm like, I can give you a bunch of different stuff, but maybe it just sounds like this, and just kind of started doing the dude, and they were like, yeah, 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 that's it.
Oh, you're talking about Persona 4, aren't you?
And it
Hell
was like,
yeah, you are,
now
brother.
there's a different version of the character, and I was like, oh, okay, we'll be funny and wacky. I started doing. They're like, oh, wait, 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 no, we want you to treat this serious. I was like, the guy's in a dress right now, right? And I was like, can we just be flamboyant? They're like, no, man, we're really trying to have a conversation with this character, and we want to treat this with a lot of respect. So yes, it can be funny at times, and we're going to have these comical moments, but we really want you to take this seriously. And I was like, oh, I had no idea then the way that character was going to resonate with people, and that has been one of the most surprising characters that I've ever had the fortune of playing, because it taught me so much. I've been the fair recipient of and the beneficiary of a lot of people telling me their story of the
Mm,
strength that character has given them. And I was like, God damn, this is why video games, this is why we play, is because people have these experiences, and they're like, if they can get through this, if that person can discover the shadow version of themselves that they're wrestling with, and come to terms with that, and come out on the other side loving that person, as
yeah.
opposed to hiding it or lying about it, or just even being in conflict with it. I mean, I've never been more surprised by a character, and never been more grateful that I was wrong. And that to swing the needle from one side to the other, that's the one that I would say is absolutely the one.
Yeah. Kanji's super special, right? And I think
Yeah,
that's why that character speaks to so many people in Persona 4 Golden. Yeah. And
100%.
you're awesome too, obviously. Let's talk about music. You want to do that?
Sure.
Sure. Patrick writes in patreon.com/kind of funny and says, Troy,
Yeah.
you shared a story on Instagram Live recently about recording with the choir in What We Lost in the Fire. Do you have
Mhm.
any other cool stories from recording that album? Also,
Oh,
would love to hear those recording sessions you mentioned.
oh my gosh. So there's two albums that I've done. One was just the solo record for me, which was Sitting in the Fire, which, speaking back to Travis Willingham, was a quote by him. He told me, he's like, there is a fire that is raging right now. If you'll just sit in it, it will make you better. Um, and that was wonderful wisdom. And then it obviously became that notion became the eponymous reason for the album. Uh, we there's 10 of us that went up to Big Bear, which is um, just a little bit northeast of Los Angeles. It's up in the mountains, and we found a house, and we dragged about $500,000 worth of gear that was rented, that was not ours, um, into the house, and we set up, and we, over the course of the next 5 days, cut a record, and then did a lot of overdubs everywhere else. But um, one of the best moments of that, again, was I picked up the guitar. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We were done, and we just didn't want to tear the gear down, because we're like, we had so much fun doing this. And I picked up
Yeah.
the guitar, and I started playing Will the Circle Be Unbroken? And everybody kind of just like by themselves came back to their instruments, and just started vibing, and just started, everything is one take unrehearsed live on that. So that was a beautiful moment, being able to be at Capitol Records. And I've always wanted to do just a big gospel choir, and I got to do it in the A room at Capitol Records. That was deathbed moment. It was incredible. And then we got to go uh, up in your neck of the woods, to Stinson Beach, and there's a house that sits up on top of the mountains that overlooks, but like Mount Tamalpais is over here, and then the ocean's over this way. And over for the course of 10 days, we ate there, slept there, worked there, and we live streamed all of it. Not the sleeping, but and that was a wonderful process of going, okay, I've written these songs. Um, and then three of us, Wayne Miller and John Titterington and I, kind of like sketched those songs together. And then we brought those sketches to the band, and we're like, how would you further the story? How would you add your fingerprint to these songs? And then we got up to um, the house up in Stinson, and we started tracking it. And One of my favorite people on this planet is a guy named Christopher Ray. We all call him C Ray. And he's just he deals in the weirdest like sounds. That's like what people go to him to do. He's an
Sure.
amazing pedal steel player, but he brought this thing called a bukla, which is a modular synth that like comes like in a small suitcase. He goes, "Hey man, I just brought this thing with me." And he's like 6'6", big like black rim glasses, and always has like a curly mustache. He's just like he's from Oklahoma. He's like, "Hey man, I just brought this booklet. I wanted to like just see if it fits on any of the songs. If not, it's totally fine." It ended up being on every because it's this coolest little instrument. So that was such an incredible opportunity to work with literally the most talented musicians I will ever have the fortune of playing with. And even now to this day, like when when the whole quarantine started and I was really, really down. It had been raining for like a solid week. And I just sat in my room and I sat this piano that's right over here and it faces the window. And I looked up and I was just like, holy shit, the clouds are starting to part and there's still a sun in the sky. And I started writing the song. I just said, breathe, open the window to see the sun is still shining outside. And that became, I was like, I want to do this song with everybody. I want to have as many people on this song as I can to make this song be better and show that even when we're isolated, we're still connected and we can still create art.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
I have 2 questions left for you.
Go.
They're both short. You're going to be okay.
Okay.
Beth Sarber writes in and says, "How is the duet with Pam coming along?"
Beth, you got my video. Cool. Super, super cool. I'm still going to leave that as it was actually her idea. I was going to do one thing. There's this song that we sing all the time. It's by Rainbow Kitten Surprise called Bare Bones. If you haven't heard it, it's incredible. And I have this wonderful little video of Pam's changing the traveler's diaper and she's singing along with the song and she's harmonizing. I'm like, damn, girl, you could sing. Um, and then I was like, well, we should do that song. She was like, no, I want to do something else. And so we're working on it. It's just a matter of she is, she has her own business. She's an amazing photographer. And so she's trying to find ways to navigate this change because the main thing that she does are weddings and events. And those are kind of put on pause right now.
Not really happening right now.
So, it's like, how do I still do it? And again, it can be very frustrating when your form of art, um, something precludes you from doing that. Like the
Totally.
computer doesn't work, or you can't go and do your thing. And so she and her business partner Loretta are finding really creative ways to still do not only their business and their commerce, but also their art in this very, very trying time. And then she's also balancing that with the fact that I'm slammed and I'm working. So she's full-time mom right now, and we don't have a David.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, but Beth, we haven't forgotten about you. It's still happening.
I can't wait to hear it. And then final question from the friend zone comes from Juan Lobo, who writes in to patreon.com/kindafunny and says, "Good morning, everyone. Troy, huge fan, but I got to know, do you own more scarves or fedoras? Thank you. Take care. Happy birthday."
Thank you for that one. My hats have eclipsed my scarf collection.
Wow,
Yeah, they rival each other every once in a while. But yeah, I finally looked and was like, I have too many hats. I actually got a letter from the president of Gorin, handwritten letter. He's like, "Hey Troy, I just want you to let you know that we notice, like you really supported our company." And he was like, here's like a little kind of like buy one get one free or something like that. He's like,
Yeah.
"I just want you to know that I noticed what you do and thank you so much for supporting this little company." I was like, they've got like 12 stores, you know. It's like that means that I've bought too many hats. It's me and DL Hughley that have like probably kept that. I actually, by the way, my favorite hat that they made is the DL Hughley collection, and it's you should check it out. It is beautiful, and it's got a like a little outprint of him on there. It's dope. I'm happy to support small business people that have like really just made a quality product. So yep. But to answer your question, Juan, thank you for the happy birthday wishes. The hats have passed the scarves.
Kevin, over on your Slack, I'm sending you a post from the subreddit that is, they're comparing me to this guy from Pokemon. But when I was getting the haircut episode, Jen, I forget how we escalated into giving you shit about scarves and hats, but it happened through Nick, of course, the worst guy. Kind of funny. I'm sorry. But Jen was able to get me props real quick and throw them on me for our interpretation of Troy Baker. Oh, it started with the hair. The way my hair had been cut, they had done it where up. And then was Jen's interpretation of what a Troy Baker hat and scarf would look like based on our limited scarves. These are actually pants wrapped around my neck and a hat.
It's not wrong, man. I mean, kind of scarf. It's more about the placement than it is anything else.
Sure. Troy, not only are you one of our cool friends, you're one of my best friends in the entire video game industry. Thank you so much for everything you've ever given me and spending so much time with us and taking a chance on Kind of Funny and Up at Noon and everything else. I love you so much.
I love you, dude. You are a true friend and a dear friend. I say this every time. I'm so proud of you for what you guys have done and accomplished, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
And I know that no one would ever hear you say that and not think it's genuine. But for me personally, whenever I think of you and our friendship and how genuine you are, when I was nominated for the Game Award in 2015, you and Pam were a row in front of us. Or you were, by the time they resat us for the actual award thing, you were 2 rows in front of us and like 4 seats down. And I will never forget when Sean Layden was like, and your winner is Greg Miller. I have never seen 2 people jump out of their chairs quicker than you and Pam did. You jumped up and celebrated in a way that like is such a, like, it's not on camera. It's not, there's not a photo of it. Like, that's a personal snapshot memory I have of that moment that no one else has. And for me, it's always spoken to how genuine and real you are and how real we are, obviously, together. So it means so much to me.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
That it does. My pleasure.
No, I love you, Troy.
Love you too, bud.
Ladies and gentlemen, we love you as well. Remember, this is We Have Cool Friends, irregularly scheduled Kind of Funny programming. We will be back on Monday with a brand new episode. So make sure you stay tuned to patreon.com/kindoffunny to see who it is, to get your questions in and all that jazz. Remember, you can be part of the show over there. You can get it ad-free. You can support us and keep the old fire truck rolling. No, that's not right. A garbage truck on fire. I haven't said it in a long time. You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunny, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe to keep up with the show. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.